biggest problem that an early stage startup faces is raising money, raising that early set of money. Because if you see, most of the startups are started by entrepreneurs who have 2 to 3 years of experience, and sometimes with no savings in their bank to sustain for 6 to 7 months, or even sometimes 3 to 4 months. The first set of funding typically comes from three F's: friend, family, and fools. And they're lovingly called fools because they're the first person that will trust you and trust that you will make a business out of your idea that you have. So ideally, you approach your mother, father, scratch their wallets, go to a rich uncle and ask for money to start the business. But what I've seen is that doesn't work a lot in India. There's that is far and few in between. I've seen a few startups who start with their savings, or who start with the money of their parents, but again, that probably number is very less. The second source of funding is accelerators, and again, there have been a lot of accelerators that have come in last 2 years. Now, if I talk about numbers, there are around 28 accelerator program. There are few accelerator program who would not fund, and they're just mentorship driven programs without investment. But most of the accelerators typically fund from 5 lakhs to 15 lakh in India, right? That's the second source of funding. But the right point of approaching accelerator is because they also, they are investors, their funds, they have to give back to the investors. So what you do is approach these accelerators, when you have a prototype complete, when you have worked for a month or so, or maybe 2 weeks to figure out what is the right business that you're targeting, what is the right problem that you have solved or solving for your customers, and then approach the accelerators for that funding. Other source of funds are angels. Angels typically are people who you would know from working with them, or somehow know them for some period of time. There are a lot of angels, people who have earned money, have new money, have exited some companies, or have done IPOs, are typical some of the people who would do angel funding in early stage startups. But the thing about angels is that they only invest, what I've seen, and it's my perception, that they only invest in startups and entrepreneurs that they have known from some time and they believe in. So you would say typically, they would fund a startup or an entrepreneur who has worked for them for past couple of years, and once he has an idea, a problem he wants to solve, he approaches that angel to fund his company. Angels typically take 2.5 months after getting to know the entrepreneurs, working with them side by side, mentoring them, guiding them. A good approach is to ask for guidance and mentorship to an angel investor, and then lead into the funding part of it. There are super angels also who operate between angels and institutional seed fund investors. But super angels can be approached when you have an MVP and an early set of customer validation. So if you have few early customers, typically 5 or 6 customers in B2B businesses, and typically a few thousand customers in a B2C business, that would be the right time to approach super angels as well. Super angels typically put more money than angels, but less than an early stage institutional investor. Um, Early stage institutional investor, which operate between 200K to $1 million, would typically put in money when they see both traction, growth, as well as a good customer base. So institutional investors in an early stage fund investment are the last one to approach for when you see that you are ready for scalability and you are ready for growth.